That was a quick 2 weeks, wasn't it? So today we're coming to you from Belandra. We've been in this area for about 2 or 3 days. We decided to pick things up after getting back from being home for a couple of weeks. We were visiting family and went to a very good friend's wedding. So it was the perfect excuse to go home and see everybody. But we had so much fun. Had so many good foods that we haven't had in a long time. And saw most of our people, which was really great. But it was a whirlwind trip and we're back. So we're back to the kiddies. And we're back in the camper. We picked the cats up at the Airbnb they were staying at with our lovely cat sitter Becky, who was awesome. Thanks again, Becky, for all your help. We felt so comfortable leaving the cats with you. But we have checked out of the Airbnb and we actually came back over to Playa Tecolote because we are taking the ferry. So we'll be coming back through here in a little bit. That's the ferry port. It's already looking a little busy.
Yeah, luckily when we made it back to the camper, I was a little bit worried because I drained the water system, but I didn't blow the lines out with air or anything. And way back when I was still working on the camper, I actually had some water turn sour when the camper was still in the garage. And it was a pain in the butt to clean out. I actually had to run bleach through it and flush all the lines like 3 or 4 times. So I was super worried about that, but luckily when we came back, all we had to do was put the element back in the water heater and close the drain valve on the big tank and filled it back up, and everything seems okay. So got good water, filled up with propane, filled up with fuel, got a couple items done. We changed the oil in the truck.
We may be in paradise, but today is still a chore day. And even in paradise, you've got to find a time to change the oil.
Just getting a little maintenance in before we head to the mainland. Got a decently level spot and seemed like a good spot to do an oil change. Being real careful not to spill any oil though. Spin the old oil filter off. This truck definitely has an easy maintenance setup. That oil filter is so easy to get to. Yeah, we actually picked up enough oil filters that we should be able to go the whole trip without having to buy any. I was a little worried with it being a GMC about getting parts for it in South America, but I know I should be able to find oil, which luckily went pretty smoothly. Not too bad at all. It always feels weird doing maintenance in some of the places that we are. I never would have thought I'd be at the beach and changing the oil in the truck, but we did it. We are also super careful not to spill any oil. Definitely don't want to pollute.
All cleaned up. It seems like the trickiest part is just not spilling the oil when you put it back in these containers.
Yeah, we have this dinky little oil pan without a lid because it fits really well next to the camper and our bed. So that's why we had to get this. Space is definitely at a premium.
Yep.
We bottled everything up and have all the used oil with us, and we'll dispose of it properly. But just trying to get everything in order before we head over to the mainland.
Yep. So we've got a few more errands to run today to get ready to go back to the ferry terminal and hopefully get our temporary import permit for the truck. So we attempted to do that actually on our way over to Playa Tecolote after we left Cabo the other day. But naturally, as soon as we got there, they had already closed. They had only closed maybe 10 minutes before. But luckily the guy was still there and he was nice enough to give us the information for the documents that we would need, because we actually didn't have them all. We needed some copies. So we are headed to the copy shop and we're gonna get some of those. So it looks like we need a copy of our passport and a copy of the passport stamp, which pretty much is our FMM. So when you're traveling to Mexico, you need an FMM if you're staying for, I think, longer than a couple of days. And we need that in order to get our temporary import permit for the vehicle. So when we initially crossed over back in, oh gosh, where did we cross? Mexicali?
Mexicali.
Back when we crossed over there, when we went to customs, they gave us a paper copy of the FMM, but since we were flying home, they would only give us that, until we were leaving the country. So when we flew back here from the airport, it was totally different. We were confused. We thought, oh no, we needed this form. So apparently they're trying out more of an electronic system. So instead now they're just stamping your passport, writing however many days you get, and then you need to go use this QR code and a very glitchy website to print off your information. So luckily David figured that out after maybe an hour.
Yeah, and a few cuss words said, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, so figured that out. We need to go print that off too. So we'll get our copies of our passport, copies of our passport stamp, copies of our little form we need to print off, and then we need copies of either our title or vehicle registration. Now, here's the kicker. Apparently, if your vehicle is over 8,001 pounds...
7,700.
Oh, 7,700. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. If it's over 7,700 pounds, you are not allowed to get a TIP. They will deny it. Well, our registration says that we are 8,001 pounds, so just slightly over. So we're hoping we can get around that. Our title doesn't actually say our vehicle weight, so maybe that'll work. It says you need to bring either your title or your registration, so fingers crossed. Sounds like otherwise, if they deny it, we need to go back to a customs facility and get an inspection, which they can then clear us as an RV. We're not an RV since it's actually the truck with, cargo, they call it, as the camper. But we can get documentation that shows us as an RV, which doesn't have a weight rating at all. And I think those permits are good for 10 years. So hopefully we don't have to do that, and we can just take the ferry today and get our permit and be good to go, but time will tell. So we're headed to the copy shop, and we'll give you an update soon. Alright, we stopped and got our copies. It was nice and easy and only 37 pesos for like 12 or more copies, so much cheaper than UPS. And we were in the area, so we stopped back by our favorite little burrito spot. So they give you some soup first, as a lot of places do, especially at lunchtime. And our tacos will be out soon. It's taco time.
Burrito time.
Burrito time. So these are quesadilla tacos. We've since learned that we were saying this all wrong. It's actually pronounced birria, probably with more of an R roll. Anyway, it's good to know since we order it from time to time. So these are flour tortillas, and they dip them in a special yummy sauce and then kind of fry the outside, and then cheese and I believe shredded beef. At least here. And most places will bring you tacos with a fun little condiment section. So we've got lots of sauces and toppings.
This place never disappoints.
Never. Time to taco. We had some lunch. Oh my gosh, look at these goats on the side of the road. Just never gets old. Anyway, we had our yummy burrito tacos. We popped over to the grocery store to grab a few things, and now we're on our way back to the port. So hopefully 2:45. We're probably 15 minutes away from the port. But anyhow, hopefully there's not too long of a line and all goes smoothly. Fingers crossed. We made it to the port. Luckily, it's really not too busy right now. And there's not a line outside at the Bañercito. So that seems like good news too. We'll see how it goes. Despite having only one person in front of us at the Bañercito, we still had to wait in line for about an hour, only to learn that we needed special approval from customs because of our vehicle weight. We were also told that the Bañercito would be closing in 10 minutes. Still yet, we had another 30 minutes of back and forth with customs officials to get that approval we needed. Thankfully, the lady at the Bañercito stayed after hours and we finally secured our TIP. We made it through a customs inspection and then we had to get the truck weighed, as your vehicle weight affects the ticket price. We were then given a slip which would allow us to purchase our ferry tickets. Once inside the ticket office, we waited in another line for another 30 minutes. But good thing we had a reservation already. The ferry was fully booked, so they weren't accepting walk-ins. Okay, we got tickets, we got our temporary import permit, and we're off going to the ferry. I didn't think that was going to happen at all, but it's looking good.
Yeah, the ferry does leave at 5 and it's 4:30 now, so we haven't quite made it out of the woods yet, but we're getting closer.
We're a lot closer. Watch out, he's going.
Whew, this has been busy.
Well, something tells me we were probably supposed to get to not the Bañercito at 3, but at the
Customs.
customs at
Ready
3.
to go in at 3.
But I also kind of figured we would still make that happen, but we had to wait in line for an hour.
Yeah. Hola.
Coming to Mazatlán?
Sí.
That's okay. You have a ticket, please?
Llegaron también muy de chévere, la Reo 322 y la Reo 652. Ahí sí llegó una para que le enganche, por favor.
Tercero, te va a ir una pick-up pero arriba de 740. Go forward for the left, please, and up.
Okay, gracias.
Okay, gracias. All right, we're going up. Getting on the ferry. I wasn't sure if we were gonna have to go below deck since we're a little bit late, but luckily we get to go on top, so we should get a little bit more fresh air that way.
See anybody?
All these trucks, I don't know, go to the back, maybe. There's some people back there. We probably go to that next line next to those trucks. Surprised it's more full than this. Sorry, it's fully booked.
Yeah. Oh, he's wanting me in that spot.
Go in the back.
In between those trucks, I think.
Oh, hopefully we can get the ladder down. Well, we're on the ferry. Here's the next hurdle. They have to do a game of Tetris to get everyone parked so everyone fits. So we are packed in tight, and there will also be surely a big semi right next to us soon. So how do we get in the camper? Good question. We're gonna attempt to take off the ladder so we can at least open the door. So David's hard at work.
Yeah. Luckily, it's just a couple bolts here to take it off, but I've had problems with these bolts coming loose in the past, so I Loctited the heck out of them. So they're a little bit difficult to get off, but nothing we can't manage. Just got to work for every quarter turn.
And hopefully we can get it done before the next semi blocks us in and it makes it harder. So we probably won't have much room to get into the truck after that. We've got pretty wide doors. So far, it seems like these big semis have to reverse all the way up the incline to get up here to be in the right direction. So, can't imagine doing that. Hopefully we get this figured out. Good news. They said they have a better spot for us. I think it will be better. Luckily, these guys are super nice. Helping us out. Good news. This is much better. This is probably best case scenario because we'll have a good block from the wind and yet also fresh breeze. So it sounds like this door stays open the whole time. Perfect. All right, I think we got things situated. Got the top popped. Kitties are wondering where the heck we are. It's been a little loud with all these semis backing in. Lots of beepers. It's a little stuffy, but hopefully once we start moving, we'll get a little more airflow. What do you think, Tiger Baby? Just not sure. Okay. I think you can go up that way. There are two ferry companies to choose from when taking the voyage from La Paz to Mazatlán: Baja Ferries and TMC. TMC is known for being the trucker preferred ferry, while Baja Ferries is preferred by passengers since they have lots of cabins for rent. TMC was the right choice for us because they allowed us to sleep in the camper, which made it more budget friendly. And on top of that, we were able to keep the kitties with us. Baja Ferries doesn't allow passengers to remain in their vehicles, and to my knowledge, they require pets to be crated in a specific area, not kept in your cabin. Our grand total for the voyage was $578 USD, not including the cost of our TIP, or temporary import permit, because we should get that deposit back when we leave Mexico. It appears the ferry doesn't leave at 5 p.m. like we thought.
Yeah.
What time is it now?
It is 5:33.
And lots of trucks are still getting loaded.
Potato truck door is open.
Right?
Because all potatoes could all fall right out of there.
Yeah, and that door's staying open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder if they have to do that to the ventilator or something.
Yeah. Don't want to get moldy potatoes.
We made it on the ferry. It was definitely a little bit of a mad dash. We had feared that we were going to be overweight as far as their limits for a car or a truck. The limit was 7,700 pounds. Our gross vehicle weight for the truck was 8,001. So we were just barely over, but still over. And we were actually just hoping that the person at the Banjercito would not notice and go ahead and stamp it and let us go on. However, she caught it Luckily, she sent us to customs, and there were some customs agents at the ferry port. And after a lot of back and forth, they didn't really seem to know why we were asking them to stamp the paper that she gave us, or that maybe they were trying to get a bribe or something. I'm not 100% sure.
There's something unspoken, so it seems like maybe they were hoping for some money for the favor.
Yeah.
But luckily, they came back and gave it to us and accepted just to thank you.
Yeah, after about a half hour going back and forth. And then we had to rush back to the Banjercito, which closed at 3, and at this point it was like 3:30, but luckily the girl who helped us out stayed over a little bit later.
So nice.
Yeah, to make sure we got our paperwork so we could catch the ferry today. So a lot more back and forth and rushing around than we expected, but we made it.
Yeah, we're here. We've been moving for about 2 hours. It's 9:22 p.m. and the cats have settled in well. Just playing a little bit. Things are definitely rocking, and you can feel it laying in bed, so not sure how good the sleep will be, but at least the cats are settling in nicely. Good morning and land ho! Almost there. Sure is windy out here.
Yeah.
Our ferry tickets included meal tickets for both dinner and breakfast. However, the kitchen was already closed when we went up to the dining room around 7:30 p.m. It seems like they maybe only serve dinner before leaving the port, so it's best to go up early if you want to take part. We were too lazy to even attempt the free breakfast, and who knows what time they served it. It seemed easier for us to just eat in the camper. Wow, we slept pretty good, despite the rocking. I think we were both surprised. It was definitely better than expected, but you could really feel the rocking, and it was actually really pretty stuffy in there, despite being right next to the door where fresh air was coming in. So it's a bit of a bummer, but we survived. It wasn't too hot. It was maybe 75 in there, so a little stuffy, but we managed. So we've almost made it to Mazatlán. We can see the land, so soon enough we're gonna be there. The water is super calm right now, which is nice. It seemed like off in the distance earlier there was some rain, but if it rained last night on us, I wouldn't have known. Looks like we're being pulled into our parking space by this tugboat. Just about there. Are you ready to go, Nutty? Look a little nervous. What do you think? What about you, Tyga? Are you ready to go? As ready as you're gonna be. We've already got the top popped. Everything is ready to go. Latched down. We're just waiting to get off the ferry. Okay. Get in the truck. Ready to go. We're moving. If you liked this video, let us know by liking and subscribing. And don't forget, you can see more of the journey on Instagram and TikTok. Cheers, friends!